Welcome to Pagan Coffee Talk. If you enjoy our content, please consider donating and following our socials.
Last week, the episode sort of inspired me to look at some stuff because there was something I mentioned in it about, never seeing certain pagans debate these Christian apologists. Like what's her name? The Italian girl. I can't think of her name, or the foolish fish, or none of these actual. You never see them debate them.
No, you don't.
If you go out there and you hunt for pagans versus Christians debate type things, you run into the same problem. The Christians, again, they're always sort of low-hanging fruit debates. Right. And pagans always wind up looking like idiots. Why? There's 3 levels of attack that most pagans do.
Most, yeah.
All right. And that first one is normally them complaining about the Crusades and what happened there.
Right, and the Inquisition.
And it's this whole entire, they went out and attacked these poor innocent people. And then the Christian apologist pops up and explains how the government and finances and geopolitics was going on. And you start to realize there's a little bit more to this story than just what happened in the Bible.
Right. Well, the Crusades weren't biblical, so not necessarily. Crusades were more political.
Right.
It was more, we're going to conquer these lands.
Right. It was in response to what in the world was going on with the Muslim nations and stuff like that. So again, This is nothing more than typical geopolitics.
Right.
And that's why in the world we lose, because by the time we get done with it, that's what it winds up looking like. And everybody's like, well, duh, that's a nothing burger.
Nothing burger.
Well, again, that's what it winds up being.
Right.
Then we got our next attack, which is typically the whole entire contradictions in the Bible.
Right.
I'm not saying these contradictions do not exist.
Yeah.
I can sit here and watch atheist channels all day long, and they will point every last one out that's there. But yet the Christians still manipulate you into believing that it's the themes, not the details. They liken it to different witnesses at a crime scene.
Well, yeah, because you've got the 4 Gospels, and each Gospel is an account, is a quote-unquote account of the life of Christ.
From someone else's point of view. Hence the reason the stories
are a little bit different.
Right, so it's more important to make it look like that it all sort of sinks together in the long run over the long scene, and that's how they win this argument. Because the majority of the times when pagans bring this up, we really don't have anything to sit there and say, hey, look at this here. Here he's 10, and you tell the story again here later, he's 18.
Right. So what happened in between?
Why? It's the exact same story. The only difference is in one he's 8 and the other one he's 10. He's 18.
Yeah.
Again, it's small inconsistencies like that, but they use this whole entire, mystical, magical, as long as it all flows together, it's supposed to be right.
Right.
And again, they get off of it. The Christian apologists, the way they put it out and the way they say it.
Well, I was going to say,
we wind up looking like idiots yet again.
I was going to say their tactics are a little more rehearsed.
This is an industry for them.
Yes.
The pagan community does not have pagan apologists.
No.
And there's sort of my point.
Right.
Again, all these attacks we do are emotional attacks, and they wind up sounding like just us whining. Going, Christian's bad.
Right.
And y'all have done all this bad stuff. What religion hasn't?
I mean, they've all done it to some extent.
I mean, I'm not saying paganism has a clean history here or anything.
Oh, Lord, no.
All right? I'm not playing this game.
Right.
And then normally the last attack is the whole entire about God being good and kids getting cancer and all the violence that they've done.
Yeah, that basically he's a monster.
He's a monster in the whole 9 yards. Well, there's a problem with that, but a Christian apologist put it out with they were justified in doing so.
Right. The kid with cancer might have been saved from a life of
something else, or it's God's will. And they invoke the plot armor line, which is we don't know God's.
Right.
Actually, what they're saying is we don't actually have an answer. I recognize the contradiction in what you're saying, but mystical, magical plot armor, activate.
Right. Well, then too, it's, and I heard it a lot growing up. When you pray for something, they always throw in, God, if it be your will.
Right.
And that way they kind of get out of, well, it didn't happen. Okay, well, God didn't think I needed it.
Right. These are the arguments we do. All right. I'm going to sit here and say, and again, I have been accused over the years of being possibly a Christian apologist myself, playing as a pagan.
Right.
All right. So let's end this. I do have problems with Christianity. All right. It's just my problems are a little bit different than these arguments.
Right.
My first argument, my first problem is I do not understand how in the world the first temple fell.
Right.
It makes no sense to me because the temple was built specifically. Okay, because everybody keeps on thinking temple. They think of temples like we're talking about where you go to worship.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't that kind of temple. This was more like a safe deposit box for the Ark of the Covenant.
Right.
What is known as the throne of God.
Right.
Because again, if you just touched it, you automatically died instantly.
Right.
So it's not like they could leave it out in the middle of the town square for all the kids to run around and play.
No, of course not.
But again, it destroyed armies. It can move seas and oceans and all this other stuff. How did the temple fall? In all instances of stuff, we're talking about the Ark of the Covenant being a weapon of mass destruction.
Yeah.
And they knew how to use it. How did the temple fall? Magically, suddenly, this magical thing just disappeared.
I don't know. It's been years since I've even researched any of that.
So that's what don't make no sense to me. You know, and again, all the arguments for it don't make no sense either. Oh, it was moved. Why? That's its safety deposit box. That's where it's supposed to be. That was the rule from God. Ark of the Covenant goes into the temple.
Yeah.
It's the Holy of Holies. End of subject. Why would you take it out? Why would you remove it? And I'm sorry, if the Babylonians came over and actually destroyed it or took it, how? They can't touch it. They don't know how to operate it. The whole story don't make no sense to me.
Right.
But again, I've never heard anyone ask a Christian apologist this in any of these debates.
No, you usually don't hear the hard-hitting questions.
No, you don't. It's all flimsy stuff. I mean, that's just kind of like the whole Exodus stuff.
Yeah.
According to the book of the Bible, according to Exodus, nobody has sat there and explained to me, why in the world Egypt is not a Jewish state right now. The whole entire thing, the plagues and stuff, was literally a war between the gods of Egypt and the gods of the Jewish people.
Right.
All right. And according to that story, the Hebrew God had the bigger dick.
Yeah.
He won. I still don't understand why in the world the Pharaoh's still alive. He should have been slaughtered. He was their God king. He failed in his job when all the firstborns were killed.
Right.
And even then, he was a firstborn. How's he even still alive? There wasn't an age limit on that.
Well, no, but I mean, it's possible, and I know it's not been proven or anything, but it's possible that he wasn't a firstborn.
Considering they don't actually name which Pharaoh did this.
Right.
Because Pharaoh is a title.
Yes.
So all we'd have to do is go back and look and see what Pharaoh actually had to use the second son. Because the first one died or something.
Right, but even then, you still don't have a specific time in history when the Exodus happened. So you can't even do that because you don't have a time frame to go by.
Well, you don't even have archaeological evidence that the plagues even happened. There's no mass graves.
Well, no, but even if you did, I'm just saying you don't have a time frame.
You don't.
If there was evidence, maybe we could get a time frame.
Well, we still have this problem, all right? Because back in these days, these people lived their religion.
Yeah.
All right. And what do I mean by this? Okay. The Pharaoh, just to do a normal business meeting, what we would just walk into a conference room, sit down and no, for him, this is completely different in their world. There has to be ceremonies. There has to be prayers. There has to be incense and stuff just for the meeting to even start.
Right.
Okay. So what in the world actually happened here was they literally, all right, Moses literally destroyed their whole entire civilization and everything. They should have fallen apart. At the end of it, there should have been Egyptian men outside mutilating themselves to grab that covenant with the Hebrew God and putting Moses on as Pharaoh. There's a whole entire story about the same thing happening, but with the Vikings, where the Vikings saw the power of the Christian God and converted on the spot.
Yeah.
That's human behavior.
Yeah.
And when you have overwhelming evidence that your gods are false, but yet we keep on following them. How does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an argument I would love to see take place between a scholarly person
and someone that actually knows what they're talking about.
And a Christian apologist.
Yes.
I would love to see that conversation because, yeah, that makes no sense.
That makes no sense. At the end of the day, their civilization should have crumbled, their finances, everything. The priests should have been slaughtered.
Right.
If I was a regular Egyptian and my firstborn son just dropped dead after the Nile and all this other stuff, I'm riding out in the streets. I'm not worried about.
Well, and what about the guards?
What about the guards?
I mean, the guards probably had kids, right?
Well, again, most Christian apologists pop up this whole entire. But he hardened the heart of Pharaoh. Okay, but he didn't say anything about his priests, didn't say nothing about his bodyguards, didn't say nothing about the people.
Right.
So all these people just completely go, oh, hey, this guy's God just slapped us to middle of next week, and we're going to go chase after him.
Right. The story goes that, God hardened his heart and he relented and he let the people go.
Then he hardened his heart and he went after them.
Okay. But what about the Egyptian people? What about the guards? What about the priests?
What about the soldiers?
What happened with them? Things don't work like that in Egyptian society.
But things don't work like that in any society.
Well, no, I mean, but especially back then.
Back then, no.
It wouldn't have worked like that.
Egypt should not exist right now, according to the Exodus story. As far as I'm concerned, there's no reason for it to exist. All right, which again brings up the whole entire thing is that the whole entire Old Testament is nothing more than mythology, just like everybody else's.
Right.
And all it does is describe the Jewish people's beginning and how in the world they got their covenant with their God.
Right.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you move to the New Testament, all you get is the creation of the Christian church.
Right.
Which is done in more historical context because we actually have those letters and that stuff, unlike in the Old Testament.
Right.
And even then, we still have this whole entire problem. I have this whole entire problem with Christ's birth, life, and death and resurrection.
Well, I was going to say, we may have the letters to the church and we may have all that stuff, but there's a lot of things we don't have.
A lot of things we don't have. I will tell you what we do have. We do have records from Roman times back then that states that a guy named Jesus was arrested, prosecuted, and killed for being a political enemy.
Right.
For being a political enemy. I want y'all to think about this.
Right.
It was
not religious.
Not a religious. This was, again, religion and politics were very close woven together.
Yeah.
All right. They were basically one and the same. So again, it was done more politics. Okay.
But you could easily argue that if they were that woven together, then it didn't really matter which phrase you used.
It really don't. But at the end of the day, okay, a leader of a group dies and then resurrected in 3 days, and there's not a rebellion. There's not a single note. You're going to tell me that the Romans killed a political enemy, then heard the body disappeared maybe 3 days later.
Right.
And they're not going to investigate? That is a rebellion in the making. I'm sorry, there's a reason it's in every story because, again, this is history. This is what people do.
Right.
I mean, I'm sorry, there's been plots to make leaders disappear to get the people to revolt. Nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, no. It was just mystical, magical... God, mystical, magical. We don't know his way. Oh, he didn't. It wasn't important. What are you talking about?
Right.
For crying out loud. I mean, come on, look at today. We don't let anything go. And we're no different than anybody else.
No.
So again, I do not see where in the world the Romans would not have investigated a political person who had been, killed, disappearing in 3 days and not do any investigation. Not a word, not a peep.
Okay, so to get off of sounding like this is a rant against Christianity.
Right. I'm just saying.
Which is not, but it's kind of sounding that way at this point.
I'm sorry about that. It's just the logic.
I know, but how does this help us debate?
Well, again, we don't need to debate from such an emotional spot. We need to debate these people from an actual logical spot. Okay? Most of the Christian apologists, when they start these whole entire arguments off, they'll introduce themselves and they basically will sit there and state that since the Bible comes from God and it's the infallible word of God, that it is just truth. Unfortunately, that statement basically is the whole entire argument right there.
Right.
Because no matter what in the world you do, we're going to refer back to this. I've already told you it was the truth. Because why? I'm doing the whole entire what's a woman?
Well, like I said,
definition. I'm using the word woman to describe the word woman. I'm using the Bible to verify my information about the Bible.
Well, and that's just what I said earlier. Their tactics are rehearsed.
Yes.
And this is what they teach people.
Right. I mean, but again, when you first walk into that argument, it's never actually going to happen. I will probably never actually get a chance to actually debate one of these people.
Right.
All right. And if I did, I probably would fail too. I'm just putting it out there.
But you would have fun doing it.
I'd have fun doing it. All right. I would want to be the opening person because I would want to sit there and say, my truth comes from nature. We see it.
Right.
It's active. It's not some maybe possibly behind closed doors inside a book that maybe you can read or not read if it's in your language. I'm talking about our truth comes from nature. Everyone can read it. It's written there. It's the fingerprints of the God, so therefore it is truth.
Right.
And science backs us up. Your Bible backs you up. Now, please explain to me how in the world, outside of using your own Bible, can you prove that your book is the Word of God? The idea there is you have to set up your arguments. Basically, I would be doing this to get him to state this so I could sit there and argue the fact is that you don't have proof that this is other than itself.
Right.
It's the same argument about the witches who want to declare themselves, I'm a witch.
Yeah.
As a there's no way to break the logic.
No, and by pagan logic, well, if it works for you, then that's what it is.
It works for you, but I'd like you to, at least state you're using circular logic to justify that you are correct.
Yeah, but most people aren't even going to admit to that.
Most people won't admit to it, but I don't see anybody actually attacking that. I don't see anybody in these debates going, wait a minute, you're using circular logic to justify you being the truth to start with.
Right.
So can you please explain this without using the Bible?
Right.
Proof. And well, I'm sorry, so do other religions.
Yeah.
And where they Christian apologists keep on putting up, hey, we've had these civilizations for years and we've grown all this stuff. And if we wouldn't have all that, no. All you got to do is go over to Asia and to China and all this. And all of a sudden their arguments fall apart because those have been around a lot longer than Christianity.
Right.
And some of these other religions. You're lying there. The archaeology and the science does not hold up the Old Testament of the Bible.
Right. It doesn't back up the stories.
It don't back up. To make it even worse there's more proof that the pagan cities and stuff actually existed because our myths are a little bit more looser.
Right.
It does not matter to me if you found the place where the Tuatha De Danann land in Ireland.
Right.
It does not. You see, it's not a holy thing to me.
Right.
Because the whole world is a holy thing to me. So to sit there and again, it has to be this exact, why?
Right.
I mean, that's the whole argument with the Temple Mount I have. Again, why? The whole world. No, this spot's no, it ain't. It's no more special than any other spot on the earth.
Well, and even then, something like that is it's a speculated spot.
Yes.
But this is they've gone and said we've determined that this is the spot we're going to call this particular thing. Right.
And then again, it becomes the Temple Mount problem we have right now.
It becomes a sacred spot. It's, people travel, for days on end by foot to get to these places.
Well, again, this is also a tension that could actually trigger off a world war.
Sure, it could, yeah.
Easily. But there's my point. I don't see pagans doing that. We don't look at each other going, okay, we're going to kill each other over sacred freaking spots. The whole earth is sacred.
Right.
What are y'all talking about?
I mean, the only thing that I can see that might come close to that would be like Stonehenge.
Maybe.
I mean, because, you know, they hold the big celebrations around the solstices and the equinoxes every year. That's the only thing that I could see that might I
would
close.
I would sit there and argue just by us celebrating somewhere on Earth makes it a sacred spot.
Well, sure, but I'm just saying, as far as any specific spot goes, that's the only thing that I can see comes close to something like that. But we don't even know its origins. We don't know anything about it, really.
But I do not see pagan religions ready to go to war because somebody wants to build something on stone. Are you with me?
Yeah, but
Here's my problem is pagan community needs to educate itself better before it goes out here and debate these people.
Right.
Or we need to start demanding that these more intellectual pagans start to debate these people. Can we see that?
Right.
Can we see something a little bit more on par with each other? Watching the whole entire Steven Crowder take out, college kids and say, that's not to me an even fight.
No, it's not.
And same thing with the turning points and all this other. You're getting random people off the street where you have a guy that sat here and has a binder full of data.
Right, and I mean they are doing. I think they're doing a good thing by getting people to talk. But no, it's not a fair argument. It's not a fair fight. It's not a fair debate.
Nope.
Even though they are getting people to think, but I would love to see. A fair debate.
Between a Christian apologist and a real scholarly,
right? Which there are some that are out there. I mean, we watch some on YouTube, and they're great people. And they've done their research, they've done their studies, and they have the information. Right. Let's get these people with the Christian apologists together.
Yeah, let's. I would like to see some of these more educated literally go and. We never get that. Again, it's always I'm probably going to get in trouble. Yeah, it's always a freaking fluffy bunny who's read a book.
Right.
I mean, I hate to be that way. Why is it always that person that gets the debate?
Because, it's always the one who screams the loudest.
Yeah. Make it make sense. I'm not trying to insult those people, but why does it always seem to be...
At least be better prepared.
Be better prepared. I mean, can y'all take a moment and do some research, some study? AI, anybody, I'm sorry, this is easy to start to kind of like look up going, hey, why do pagans lose out on these arguments with Christian apologists?
Right.
And it starts breaking it down and showing you, okay, take some time, people, please. So I'm ready for some coffee.
Yeah, me too. Thanks for listening. Join us next week for another episode. Pagan Coffee Talk is brought to you by Life Temple and Seminary. Please visit us at lifetempleseminary.org for more information, as well as links to our social media: Facebook, Discord, Twitter, YouTube, and Reddit.
We travel down this trodden path, a maze of stone and mire. Just hold my hand as we pass by a sea of blazing pyres. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning breaks. And so it is the end of our days, so walk with me till morning.